So if you,
In the highway one, I have received absolutely no assistance. I have been left with complete disdain for all government. The other thing I'd like to say right now is, wow, I'm so utterly impressed with the people of this town. This is a very important situation. Nobody seems to care about me, I guess. But I gotta tell you, to be honest with you, the talk about raising taxes kills me. If anybody can think of exactly one service that I received from any of these people, I would like to know what it is after all of these years. Tens of thousands of dollars that I pay out. And I'm responsible now for the things that the state has done. While my tax money goes to help the guy that's less than an eighth of a mile away from me. Where's the justice in that? That's all I have to say.
thank you, Evan.
you.
All right, we need to approve the adoption of local law 1 of 2025 to override the tax levy limit established in New York General Municipal Law 3-C. I'll need a motion.
So, make a motion and then comment, right?
Correct.
Don't we need a motion to open a public hearing?
Just,
Sorry,
Right?
yeah,
No, I'm just,
you're right.
we need a motion to open the public hearing first.
Yeah. do a motion, right, and then,
I'll make a motion, we open the public hearing regarding the, resolution enacting the tax cap. Property tax cap.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded to open the meeting for public hearing on the tax override. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Carried.
Need to make a note that Ivan's already spoken.
Right, I think the minutes will reflect that.
Yeah.
And there was nobody on there that wanted to speak, right?
No, I don't think so. Nobody's requested.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks.
Okay,
Now we need the motion.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve and consider the adoption of the local law number 1/2025 to override the tax levy limit established in New York General Municipal Law 3-C.
I'll second it.
Motion made to approve to consider the adoption of local law 1 of 2025 to override the tax levy limit established in New York General Municipal Law 3-C. Any discussion?
yeah, I just want to make it known that we pass this every year, not knowing what our final numbers are even going to be. So we're gonna have another budget workshop here and see what we can do. But this is just something that we do this every year.
Yeah.
Right. That was all I had to say.
Good point.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Both say no. Motion is carried. Okay, budget workshop. Dan, what have you got for us?
The preliminary budget's already been prepared and I believe it's posted. Vicky,
I'm sorry, we need a motion to close the public.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, like it's clerk letting us know.
This is my
I've been doing this for 5 years, so I know these things, I just didn't want to interject.
Nope, you're fine, Nick. We appreciate the help.
This is my first public hearing.
It's
So
okay, I know, you're welcome.
I make a motion that we close the public hearing for the tax cap.
Okay, I'll second it. Go ahead.
I'll second it.
motion made and seconded to close the public hearing on the tax cap levy. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Both say no. Carried.
So, okay,
Now we're talking.
so now we're having a regular, that was the end of public hearing.
Now we're gonna do the budget workshop. Jim, you have the floor.
If everybody has a copy of the preliminary budget that you will be discussing. I think that was posted to the website. So not a lot has changed since then. Few line items have been updated. Just quickly. In the general fund. Not a lot has changed. The only change the line for legal or attorney. The retainer has remained the same at $70,000. The amount budgeted for other, you want to call it that, what's that? Is that like the planning board and things of that nature?
No, so those are the litigations
Okay.
that are out there.
That has increased from 3,000 to 5,000, so we're looking at a $2,000 increase there.
Do we need to review the litigations that are out there as it work, just since the workshop, so everybody understands?
We can certainly, there's the pending Article 78 relating to Heritage Hill. For the most part, I don't think there's gonna be much in the way of any further legal fees. As you all know, that got argued before the appellate division last week. So those fees have already been incurred. The next step in that process is waiting for the appellate division to make a ruling. So, and then after that, it's either the appellate division agrees, the decision could be varied. I'd be speculating,
Okay.
but the likeliest scenario is either it agrees with the lower court, or if it disagrees with the lower court, one of the options is that it would send it back to the planning board. But that's really not going to entail anything in the way of legal fees. Or it could completely disagree and make a decision that really doesn't entail any legal fees either, that say that the Supreme Court just got it wrong. And that grant the relief that the petitioners are asking for. Again, under that scenario, no real legal fees to be incurred by that. Second, Article 78 that is pending is the solar, Norwood Solar. That motion, that Article 78 motion argued, I think I argued that 2 weeks ago, somewhere in that ballpark. So that is at the Supreme Court stage. Depending on what the Supreme Court decides, may entail an appeal. Win or lose, the town will have the option to appeal. Win or lose, Norwood Solar will have the ability to appeal. If the appeal goes on, then there will be significantly higher legal fees.
But at the very least, right now, we have those two that were on the table that we need to make sure that we understand and have money for to be able to deal with as we go forward to the best estimate that we can.
Yeah, and there is a notice of claim that you guys may recall was filed probably close to a year ago now on the bill that was owed for the preserve work. But the notice, and the notice of claim, all that does is under municipal law, if I think it was JJ Lane filed the contractor that filed the notice of claim, and that preserves their right to commence an action. If they didn't file that, they couldn't commence an action against a municipality. So that was done to preserve their right. As of now, no litigation has been pending or has been filed. And I believe that is the only potential litigation that I'm aware.
Is Yvette Schoon closed?
I'm sorry,
Yvette Schoon, wasn't that against the highway department?
I'm not even sure what that is.
Car damage.
Yeah.
That's done. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, that has been resolved. She withdrew her claim
Okay,
and
I didn't know because I just got a foil on this last week, so I'm like getting all these documents together.
so that was the litigation that was pending in city court, small claims. When we put together our legal papers and explained that, if you all recall, there was an allegation that her car was damaged as a result of snow plowing. Without getting into the weeds, it's a municipal function that you have to snow plow. And it was done in the course of snow plowing. If there was any damage at all, that was even disputed. So as a result of the legal position, she withdrew her claim. That's not to say that she couldn't do something again in the future, but I can't imagine why she would do anything to withdraw the claim only to bring it again.
But yeah, thanks for going through that, Dave. My only point was to make sure the public understood
Sure.
what was in front of us, what we've been dealing with, and what we're gonna be dealing with going forward for the foreseeable future that we understand today. It could be something new 6 months from now. But
Absolutely.
it's our job to defend the town and the
So
process.
what liability do we have if the appellate court decides against us in this appeal at Heritage Hill? If
If
they bring them back to.
Well, again, it depends on what it decides. It depends on what basis it decides it on. If there were 3 or 4, no, probably 5 different arguments as to what the planning board may or may not have done incorrectly, depending on what happens. If it is reversed, you know, the question for the town will be, really, I take this view, generally speaking, with municipalities, it is, we don't, to a certain extent, have a dog in the fight. Whatever the court says the town is legally obligated to do, the town will do. So if it rules against, if the appellate division rules against the town and says the planning board did something wrong, or there was some procedural issue, then the appellate court may fashion something with, like, for instance, one of the remedies would be send it back to the planning board to do it in their eyes, the proper way. So the planning board would go ahead and do that. If the appellate division did rule against the town, just like if it ruled against the petitioners, then that side has the ability to appeal, but you don't get an appeal as of right to the Court of Appeals, so that you understand. What we call the Supreme Court in New York State is the general court of jurisdiction. Above that, there are 4 different appellate divisions. We're in the 4th appellate department. That's who that argument was made in front of last week. Sitting on top, which is what many states in the country call a Supreme Court, is our New York Court of Appeals. That's the highest court in the land. You don't get an appeal right as of right to the Court of Appeals. You have to do what is called a writ of certiorari, and you try, and the Court of Appeals will look at it and say, is this a novel thing? Is this something that appellate divisions are split on? They only take the really, really important. I don't want to say none of this is not important, but they take ones that there's conflicts amongst the appellate division on a state of the law, and they make the final determination. So theoretically, you could try to go to the Court of Appeals, or they could try to go to the Court of Appeals if they deemed it necessary. If it goes back to the planning board, as this board is well aware, I'm not sure if there is even a fight anymore, and I know, you know, we've got folks online listening to this, and they've pointed it out before that, is this moot? I don't think any of us really know as we sit here. If they're not planning on, if Heritage Hill or whoever the applicants are not planning on moving forward, that may very well dictate what the planning board does or does not do. So it's, but the town will have options depending on what it's decided.
So the bottom line, we wait to see what happens with these actions,
Mhm.
what the decision is, and we make a move from there.
Sure.
Okay.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
I believe that was the only change made to the general budget. In terms of highway, I think since we last sat down, 2 positions have been filled, which caused us to do a more in-depth analysis of where we were in terms of budget, working with BR, Teresa. We added 1 to where we were before, 1 position. And we also captured the planned health insurance cost for those 2 employees, the 2 new hires, which weren't previously factored into the budget. Quite a large increase in health insurance. I mean, I have the rates for next year. 1 individual is at a single plan, which is about $988 per month. The other was on a family plan, which is $2,581.98 per month. So that's a pretty substantial increase. What I was planning on doing, after discussing with you, is using some of the highway fund balance to help alleviate the increase in expenditure. Theory being, the overtime can fluctuate quite a bit. A lot of times we're not using the full budget amount for overtime. So if we use some of that fund balance to alleviate or reduce the tax burden of that overtime, that might, reduce the tax hit, from those extra hours. I think we already had the, Manlius Fire Department, Fire District, tax, I guess, burden, factored into the Pompey budget. That's a substantial increase, about 13% over last year. So we went from $820,000 for 2025 to $926,000 for 2026. Again, completely out of our control.
And Jim, can I just make a point on that?
Sure.
So Tom and I, as we had said during a previous board meeting, went down and met with the mayor and the fire chief and went through the whole process. Essentially, that whole process took place without our involvement. And it wasn't because we weren't interested. There was no discussion or communication prior to a week before they were finalizing the whole thing. So when we did get there, very nice guys, really interesting conversation. But the bottom line was, here's your allocation. Here's the amount you owe. Last year you got a deal. This year it's more expensive and there's not a lot you can do. So as much as we want to talk about taxes and going up and increasing, the people that live in the north end of the town that are covered by the Manlius Fire Department are the ones that are going to feel the most burden with that increase.
I have a real problem with the Manlius Fire Department. 2 years ago, I posted at 20%. 4 years ago, I was here when they had the meeting. This year, they raised it 13%, so it's 10% for 2 years, 6.5% for the 2 years. $100,000 increase. But I asked the fire chief, how many fire calls did you make in the town of Pompey last year? Well, we don't have that information. Bull crap. How many EMS calls did you make in the town of Pompey last year? We don't have that information. I would hate to think what it costs per fire call that they make for us in the town of Pompey. I don't remember any fires in the Pines or the Preserve or District 3 in the last 5 years. I think it's a major, major issue that this town has got to look at for fire protection going down the road. If we can't do something with Delphi and Pompey Hill to offset this dramatic cost of $100,000 increase, it's nuts for what they do. And on top of that, when they have an EMS calls, because I took a ride in an ambulance a few years ago, and it cost me $900. Taxpayers didn't pay for that, I paid for that.
Right.
But they charge the town for that service. So somebody's got to look at that real close next year when they get the new board in place, because that is killing us.
But they know we have no alternative.
We do have an alternative.
It would be exorbitantly expensive, I think, relative to what we pay. Maybe not. I mean, I may be wrong, but I think that's the dilemma. They know that, we're unquestionably a subsidy for the other parts of Manlius that they serve. But the reality of it is, I think they also recognize that it would be exorbitantly expensive for us to do something different. I mean, Diana, maybe you know it differently than I do, but.
No, I've been putting a lot of thought toward this because I've been talking to a lot of people and everybody kind of on the same wavelength. But if you think about it, in order for us to change our coverage, you'd have to consolidate the two departments. One's privately owned, one's a municipality. You would have to, there's not a facility that is going to accommodate what you were talking about. Pompey Hill is ready to, it's already past its last leg. Delphi is on the southernmost east corner of the town. So it'd be really hard for Delphi to go all the way to Manlius for a call. So you would have to find a centralized location, you would have to build a facility. And then on top of that, a lot of these costs is because of paid staff as well. And we see it right now with the highway department and the health insurance and the retirement benefits. This is where things are really getting expensive in any organization. That's why your school taxes are going up. That's why everything's going up. It's all retirement and health insurance. And until they figure a way to combat that and get it back down, we pay a lot of that. That way the employees, it's a benefit that they have, that they don't pay it out of their own pockets. But yeah, it's something you can look into, but it's gonna cost millions. It's more than 100,000. It's gonna be millions.
Yeah, and one, Diane, I agree. One of the things that Tom and I talked about with the fire chief was, hey, a couple of just simple niceties that we'd like to request. Number one, can we please be informed of when you're going to start the budget process so we can participate? Number two, how did you come up with this amount? And I believe the answer was, it's a standard assessment against all the houses that they would cover in the northern part of Pompey. So they look at the assessment, they look at what their costs are, and we get a certain percentage of it. So it's a difficult situation because the response times from Delphi Falls or Pompey Hill would be excessive. And I just want to have more involvement, which they promised going forward we would.
We asked that 2 years.
Yeah, we did.
I mean,
Different mayor.
I mean, I don't know there's much to do with it. It seems like it still could be a bargaining chip because Pompey needs, I mean, they're not long from needing a new fire building anyway. So, I mean, if all of a sudden, I think we should look at it more big picture in the long term is that might be a way to be a bargaining thing. Hey, we could consider, if you're they're already asking for multiple millions to do Pompey for just an unrealistic amount. So if we were really gonna all of a sudden spend money on it, maybe it does need to move and be considered that way. So what this cost could be split between, I'm just saying it might be a bargaining chip to use with Manly. It's like, hey, we could be looking at this.
Right, but
Look at lots of contingents.
yeah. All right, let's keep going.
Yep.
Sorry.
Moving on.
Outside of that, it's still, the increases, across the board, we kept everything at, 0 to 2-3%. There's not a whole lot of extra in this budget. There's no real, I don't know if you want to call it one-off or, large outlays. It's really the uncontrollable costs are driving the tax rate. So this year, 2025, excluding the special districts, so like, the Pompey Fire, Manlius, Delphi Falls, we are at 2.62 or $2.62 per thousand for 2025. We're looking at $2.89 for 2026 right now. And that's going to probably decrease a bit depending on how, the fund balance, calculus comes out, but that's where we are right now. I wish I had some, ideas to drop that, but when health insurance is going up by double-digit percentages, state retirement's going up 23%, general liability is going up 10%, national grid's going up 15-16%. There's not a lot that we can do meaningfully to bring that tax rate down, unfortunately.
And unfortunately, we've been cutting services along the way to keep the costs down. The swim program's pretty much gone, or that's not gonna come back unless we build a $30 million
Right.
community center. So.
Yeah, it's a tough spot. The town's not alone. I think, a lot of towns in the area are faced with the same kind of situation. It's just a lot of large fixed costs are going up by a lot of money and not a whole lot you can do about it.
Anybody else have anything to add on the workshop?
We have another meeting after the November 5th hearing, or how does that
We have the
work?
public hearing on the 5th, then we have the town board meeting the next week to adopt the budget. So the budget can be changed after the fact. It's really just the elected official salaries that can't change after next week, which that's already been set.
Right.
We already discussed that. So, the budget, obviously, as the year goes on, it continues to change and be modified. So, as new information comes in, hopefully, the state pension, that was a preliminary invoice that they gave us, probably 6 or 8 weeks ago now. Still don't have the final invoice, so maybe that'll, fingers crossed, be lower than what we are anticipating. So.
And I know we dip into it a little every year to keep the tax base down. What are the reserves looking like?
We're in good shape. The books haven't been closed out for October yet, but I can tell you, in like the highway fund, for instance, I'm just so happy to be in there. There is about $1.2 million or so of fund balance, unexpended fund balance. So pretty healthy reserve there. In the general fund, let's get to it. The end of September, we have, not gonna be that much. It's 634,000. So, I've said this before, one of the dangers of, using fund balance to reduce taxes is that, next year that hurdle gets even higher to cross because costs continue to increase. So, you either have to raise taxes by an even larger amount or continue to rely on fund balance by an even larger amount. That rainy day fund goes down, and next thing you know, you have nothing and you're in, you have a big problem. So.
Then you're like the local school district that went broke.
Yeah. So I think, we have a very, healthy amount of fund balance. I don't think it's excessive by any stretch. Especially, on the highway side, there's very expensive equipment that would need to be purchased someday, and it's good to have that money on the sideline. The general fund, $634,000 might sound like a lot of money. But, as we've seen, like if issues pop up, legal bills can creep up, roofs can fail,
Right.
things of that nature, it's a safe amount to have. So.
And we are gonna have to make some expenditures around, we were looking at a grant, but possibly it might be a capital expenditure or a combination of both. Be able to scan everything in to get our documents and cloud some. So that's gonna be an expenditure. I think about BR and what you were challenged with rock salt last year. What was the percentage of increase that you looked at throughout the year from when you started to where you ended? On a percentage basis?
On percentage?
It's a couple 100%.
Yeah.
It's a big number.
And I should
Keep
say,
everybody safe.
I should say too, those fund balance numbers, that's as of September 30th. There's really no money coming in between now and the end of the year, so that's gonna, we got 3 months of expenses to come out, probably a few $100,000 in the general fund, and at least that on the highway side, there's a lot of overtime and snow removal costs coming out. So those numbers they look good now, but they'll go down.
Yeah.
So
Real fast.
Yeah, late winter,
Yeah, right. Salt, sand, yeah.
60 degrees.
Yeah. So, I know, it looks like it's gonna snow pretty soon.
I think it's gonna.
Okay, anything else on the budget workshop? I think you filled us in pretty good.
So what I'm gonna do, I'm not gonna make any changes at this point. We'll wait till the public hearing. Any changes that come out of that incorporate, and we'll develop the version that will be adopted, and I'll get that out after the hearing this week. So.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, now we need approval to pay for removal of a large tree limb at the town of Pompey Historical Society location. Yeah, you're the one that brought that to us.
Yeah, it's an old ash, like 100-year-old ash that's pretty well rotted. And one of the limbs is hanging right over the outhouse, about ready to come down. If it does, it's gonna wipe out your outhouse.
That's
Well,
about
we
how
can't have
last, was it
Yeah, we
last
just-
2 years,
we
they
just
just
put a roof on
repaired it.
Here, how many limbs are this for 1,600? How many are they talking about? Cause
This isn't a normal limb, it's probably like this.
I know, I had a.
That's one limb,
tree
just one limb.
1,600 for one limb.
Yeah.
It's huge sound.
I gotta bring in a bucket truck out soon.
Yeah.
And rig it in the
You gotta rig it, not drop it on the outhouse. It's gonna be extensive work. It's not cut and drop.
Do they, and they have liability, right? If they crash into the.
They do.
400 house, yeah. They gotta find another one. Perfect.
I don't have a tree.
Huh?
For 13. It's not my forte. This is the only quote we got to, correct?
Yeah.
Well, how soon do we need to do this? Probably soon, right?
That's up to you guys. I mean, I probably would do it sooner than later before you can't get in there.
And before it falls on something.
Yeah.
Or hurt somebody. I mean, we do have to think about the safety of people walking around.
Yeah.
What do you think, Bill?
I think we do it. I'll make a motion to approve the contract with Merch Street Service to have the lift taken down.
I'll second it.
Motion made and second to approve the payment for tree limb removal by Murphy. Murphy.
Murph, like Smurf, Murph?
Murph. Any discussion?
No.
I just
All in
wish we had
favor,
a
say
second
aye.
quote.
What's that?
I just wish we had a second quote.
Well, you don't need one because it's under the procurement policy.
All right. Go ahead. Sorry, Tom, I interrupted you.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Carried. We need approval to accept the proposals for the painting of the town hall for next year, this year's budget.
Okay.
We have 3
Yeah, so
estimates.
There is 3 there, yeah.
one significantly lower than the other. Am I missing something?
No, they're all about the same.
The other two are 13, this one's.
Well, the other 2 have tax on them, so the
Oh,
tax
they
is
do.
taken out.
Oh,
Well, we got one for 10-3.
I just got this third proposal out to you guys, so
Yep.
you don't have,
We got,
if you wanna wait till next week to look these over.
Well, my
That's up to you
question,
guys.
like I said earlier, the first one we got is cheaper. It has some detail, but the one you brought to us today has much more detail about fixing some of the rotted wood and whatnot. That's not in that first one. Did he not see that, or is that not something that they would do?
The one first one, yeah.
First three.
Yeah. That was one of this one.
Yeah.
oh,
Yes.
hold on, first one's.
That was true, that's.
so we got 10-3, we got 13-6.
Minus the thought, what, for taxes.
I think I'm both was last. Oh,
So it's like
Well, two of them
$12,500.
have sales tax listed that would come off.
correct.
Yeah, they're all pretty close.
They're all pretty close, and I will say, number one, this is a town of Pompey resident. He's local and he did the interior of the town hall. He came back multiple times. He didn't charge for touch-ups. He was fantastic.
That's
Just the
Revival.
town clerk just saying,
Revival.
Revival, he was phenomenal. I know
Well, I
they're
think
all
this-
really close in price, but he is a Pompey resident.
That
was
was
still
still
there.
$8,000 for tax on the hills, is that?
Well, I just subtracted 1,000 off, so 12,500 times 3.
Exempt.
Yeah. Tax exempt.
Well, but the other two put tax.
They did, yeah, I
Oh,
just
I
need
see
to have.
I see what you're.
What's the Empire
Yeah.
one?
So back to my original question, Empire said that they were gonna fix the rotted wood and stuff like that. Were these other proposals, were they gonna go and fix all the damage before they painted? Or was this the only one that was gonna fix the bad spots? Like behind it says here behind where the condensers were, there's a rotted piece and they were gonna fix that and around the vent.
He's doing more than the other 2.
He's
Oh. That's something we've talked to them about, Diana.
Yeah,
If you want-
maybe we don't make that decision today without finding out if what his intentions are.
Yep.
Because obviously, we don't want to paint over rotted wood, right? So,
We can hold off until the 11th if that's what you like.
Yeah, cause it doesn't sound like you're gonna be able to get to it now.
I don't think so.
Yeah, are these all, yeah, are these prices, once we get the scope equal, are they all good for next spring?
Does it say on there how long the
It does.
proposal's good for?
I did, the one I reviewed this morning for today, did not.
I can find that up to date.
Right.
make a motion that we wait until the monthly meeting, to decide on the painting of the town hall.
If that's.
If we have,
No, I don't think.
If we have to make a motion. all right. I'd like to know if he's gonna do repair work.
Okay.
Keep it local if we can with, I mean, he's cheaper too. Can't see us painting over rotten wood.
I'll see what I can find out for you.
All right,
Thank
thank you.
you.
All right, what was the motion?
We're just gonna.
We don't-
We don't need a motion. We're just gonna hold off.
Yeah.
Okay, now the big one, approval of payment for Volvo VHD 64F300, contract 10914. $179,065.46. That's in your budget already for this
That
year.
was budgeted for. I think we got 200,000 for it, so it's under budget.
So is this?
But we
part-
did that because I jumped in with Fabius and we did like a double order,
Mhm.
saved us both towns about 15-20 grand a piece.
Nice job, PR,
I
thank you.
remember you talking
Thank you,
about
yeah.
that.
PR, is this part of ARPA money?
That is not, this was budgeted from.
This was budget
Yeah.
capital fund?
Which,
All right, so maybe that, we have that and we can forward that budget to paint the thing that the town hall next year.
We have 15 grand in the budget right now for
That
painting
sounds
for
Okay.
town hall
For 2026.
for 26, right?
Okay,
And that's funded by our reserves.
Okay, we need a motion on the approval of the Volvo.
and what truck is this, like, this is our plow truck?
This is the plow truck, yeah. It's it came in. It's sitting up in Henderson. Waiting for equipment, which is what is in the budget for 2026.
so this is to pay for the truck
This is
and
just
then,
to pay for the truck, yep.
and then we have another line item in the
Yeah.
fiscal 25 budget for.
Yep, for the equipment for 2026.
So,
When you order them, it takes like a year for them to come in, so instead of me budgeting 600,000 for 1 year, I split it up between 2 years, so it's not such a big hit.
so when are they scheduled to install the stuff so you can start using it?
As soon as the budget's complete, I can put it in order to order the equipment, and then it'll be here by next winter probably.
Next winter?
Yeah,
Like 2026 winter?
yes.
It's a whole year.
Holy, what are you gonna do with the truck in the meantime?
We got one. We're using the old one right now.
No, I mean the new one, we're gonna pay for it.
It's a Henderson. It's gotta be outfitted.
They don't do that overnight.
No, that takes months,
Okay.
months upon months.
It's crazy.
I gotta be honest, that's a ton of money to tie up for a year.
Yeah,
Is there any way that that state grant we applied for will help with this?
it possibly,
That's 190.
actually, the equipment was more than the truck.
Yeah.
Was it really?
The equipment was almost 200,000.
198.
198, yep.
We have applied for a state STAM grant for these accessories.
Yes.
Hopefully we'll get that approved.
Yep.
But, well, if it's any consolation, it doesn't cost much more than a school bus.
Trying to think of fire engines.
Especially the electrical.
Yeah.
It's almost.
Yeah, it's school bus.
There's no. Oh, this. It's all due, right? You have to. I'm just saying we could earn.
No.
interest on
No.
So you probably have to pay for it in full for them to start putting stuff on.
We gotta pay for
this test.
well, we're paying for the truck, not the equipment.
No, I got it, but they're not gonna put equipment on 3 months from now on a truck we didn't pay for.
Well, I can, right,
So we need to pay for it, then order the stuff, and then have them start putting it on.
yes,
So in what, March, they roll it out and say, here you go?
It depends on when the equipment comes in.
That could
It'd
be
be more like summer.
August.
Oh,
It could be.
Moses.
That's how it works.
So it sits there for 6 months.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
appreciates.
I make a motion, we pay the bill for the
Yeah, let's do
Volvo VHD that we had already budgeted for this year.
Yeah, I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded to approve a payment for the Volvo VHD 64F300 under contract 10914 for $179,065.46. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Carried. Last thing on the agenda. J. Mapstone, service for town hall electrical upgrades. In the town clerk's office, we had 2 purge suppressors plugged into one plug. And there was 10 other items plugged into it. That was on the east wall. On the west wall, we had the same thing.
Gee, where was that codes guy?
So it was a serious code
You would
violation.
walk To the office, you'd be like, this is so out of code. I'm like, I don't know.
We've been that way for 10 years.
Please.
And we also upgraded back here where we had 6 things plugged into one plug. Microwave,
I was like, a microwave
refrigerator.
wasn't an extension cord. It was
You
bad.
can't do that. So I had John Mapstone come up because it was an emergency. And he took care of it for us.
He did an amazing job.
So I need that approved.
Is it for both of them or
There's
one
2.
or 2?
It's a total of what, about $1,000? Well, 1,300.
It was the whole town hall.
Add it up, you got your calculator.
1270,
Yeah, got it.
Mhm.
Okay.
What was the total amount?
1,270.
I'll make a motion, we pay JNAP services for the electrical work, proposal 1 and proposal 2. For what did you say, something, Diane?
1,270.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded to pay John Mapstone for his work on the town clerk's office in the meeting hall area for $1,270. Any discussion?
Yeah, I just want to thank Alma for showing us the situation so we could do something about it. I mean, that was the first I'd seen it. And it was a dangerous situation.
Thank you all.
Yeah. That's why there was a plant there. When I got there 5 years ago and had that, I said, do you want to take this with you? When I took over, oh no, that hides all the cords. I was like, oh, okay.
I almost had a stroke when I saw that.
The good news is it didn't burn down. Is it already done?
It's done. It's all done.
It's all done. Perfect.
We're still in
Thank you.
discussions, yeah. I don't-
Yeah.
We're in discussion. You want to discuss it?
No, I do not.
Thank you.
Done.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Say no. Carried.
Going, yeah.
Discussion.
If there's nothing else to come before the town board, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Second, yeah.
Made and seconded to adjourn. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Say no. Meeting adjourned.
Now, some of you young men, you need to put this room back together.
Because voting opens at 5 a.m.
We moved it so we could have